Oh. How you doing? Nah, just good. Just need some water. Have some chocolate. I got my water right there. Anyway. Yeah. Hi. Here's another video. In this one, I'll be talking about me in general, the creator, Christopher Phillips, aka Fire. And I just made a list real quick. Well, just to give some direction to this video. So I'll answer simple things first, such as when I started drawing and writing. I started drawing first. So I have two questions for this, but I guess I'll come back to give details on both. But I started drawing when I was pretty much before preschool. I've literally been drawing my whole life. And just the other day I was talking to a friend of mine from work, and she asked me the same question. I was like, yeah, drawing is the only thing I've been doing that I can actually look back in life and say I've been doing it the whole time. Like, some kids are raised on sports and I don't know, anything that they can just be like, yeah, I've been doing it forever. So drawing is mine forever. And I didn't start writing until maybe 15 or 16. So like, sucked at it, but at the very least that's the starting point, somewhere right there. So as far as drawing goes, I've been doing it for 28 years now, 27 if you want. I'm pretty sure I wasn't drawing at age 1, but it's possible. So, but writing age 16, so I've been drawing for about, it's about 10, 12 years. And what got me started really drawing, as far as where the compliments start to come in, it's always about fan art, Most of the time you rarely see anybody, well, at least in my small town, you don't see too many people who have like an original style right off the get-go and are just like amazing. So for me, I'm one of the usuals. I started doing fan art. Well, not fan art for the sake of it being fan art. I just started drawing these characters because I liked them and I watched the show. And most of us know the show, it's Dragon Ball Z. It's the pioneer for most Americans when it comes to anime and drawing. So for Dragon Ball Z, I didn't draw a whole lot of them. I just drew them enough to the point where I started drawing just without a reference. I could do them pretty well. Of course, Goku, he was pretty much the easiest one to draw. Honestly, it was mainly Goku. I didn't draw every character that I saw on the show just for the sake of saying like, yeah, I'm gonna try to draw them. I was just still random, still erratic. So that's how I was as a kid. And so as far as that same question how I said earlier, how I started drawing and what helped me become a better drawer, it was like same questions. That would be Dragon Ball Z, and that's pretty much when I started really drawing human figures more. And even back then, it was all cartoons to me. Like, I didn't. You might think it's sad. You're gonna give me some crap for it, but I didn't start calling anime, and didn't know it was called anime until I was 18 or 19. I met a friend at my first job, and I thought I knew anime. I thought I knew cartoons, but she had a collection. I'm talking. If she stacked her DVDs right now, it'd be higher than this picture. I was like, Jesus, I've been missing out. But anyway, as far as, I like to call them my unofficial teachers. So, of course, Dragon Ball Z, Akira Toriyama. And then, after meeting that said friend, I got into Bleach. So, Tite Kubo and Akira Toriyama are pretty much my unofficial teachers. Toriyama's style basically is the basis for how I draw. And that's, Bleach came out so many years later. Well, I don't mean, as far as how I was watching them, I don't really know the time lapse between each. But basically, after I pretty much got my own bearings how my style was. You know, I wasn't even drawing Dragon Ball Z anymore. I was just drawing like my own little characters. And this is 36 was already in the making at this point, but it was just random writings and drawings. Like, just the ideas were just clustered all over the place. So it was already being written and everything, but it had no direction. So, but anyway, as far as drawing goes, when I started watching Bleach, reading the manga, I started incorporating a bit of Kubo's techniques into my own style. Like, I just liked the certain few aspects of, faces or whatever, just body structure. I was paying more attention to it just because I was older. So those two are like the foundations of how I draw. And then from there, when I hit my early to mid 20s, I finally found how I draw, which is how they look now. So you might be able to find some references to them aside from, well, I can't really say the hairstyle on me is and isn't Dragon Ball Z related, because it is wild, but it's, I don't know, I can't really give you a detailed difference between the two, but obviously a different style from another when you've seen it enough. So me looking at my drawings, I can say like, yeah, that's me. And so okay, how I came up with 36. 36 was originally called Pop Lock Samurai. That's the random name me, Mondo, and Justin gave it for when we first threw it together. But how it actually got started, me and Mondo were the biggest kids ever. We were teenagers already when we made this, but we're the geeks. So we're the athletic geeks. So when we first started hanging out, we had this local canal we always go to just to play around, just hang out in one of our spots. And they had these bushes called arrowweeds, and like they're pretty sturdy sticks. You could just pick them out. Nobody wanted them. They were growing there like a regular weed. So, but they were very good for hitting stuff with. So we started like actually playing around like with sword fighting. And back then, that's all it was. We were just playing. But after like a few years after it, we kept building on it just because we were doing it so often, and we realized we got, I'd say, somewhere around intermediate. We're decent at it, but I doubt I doubt we're too dangerous, I'd say, at that time. So, but anyway, we'd always kind of continue from where we left off the previous day with whatever little storyline we had. And, we never pretended to be anything other than the characters that we were. Like, we pretty much gave ourselves all the powers. Like, we didn't, another inspiration for me would be Ronin Warriors. So, if you ever heard of that anime or, check that one out. And, Ronin Warriors was one of the first ones I watched too, alongside Dragon Ball Z. But, like, the point is, whenever we did our little adventures, we never, like, said, okay, and today I'm going to be Ryo. Like, no, it was always Chris and Mondo out there kicking ass and making up all the ideas. So, after we actually, we had all that data is lost other than what I can remember. We had like over a dozen little stories written. Like, they were more like OVAs to say, it wasn't a series like how I have it set up now. So like each one was like us fighting, a new villain, just adding up to the story, adding more to it. So, but recently, well, in the past, I guess 3 to 5 years, me, Justin, and Mondo were all separated. But at the time, writing the story, we each all sit down at the computer and write our own individual lines, because one part of the originality I wanted was for each of us to actually be ourselves and follow through this fictional story with, us fighting demons and whatever. But I wanted to be like, dude, when you write your lines, do it how you would actually do it in real life, as if you're in that situation. And I would always give Mondo crap because he would say something just arrogant and conceited. I'm like, dude, you honestly say this right now. Like, if this thing was staring you down, I'm like, make it legit, make it yourself. But, we always had that little dispute. But most of the time, like, the story went through very smoothly. I gave it some mild direction for, like, what we're going to be doing in it. But other than that, it was it was all random. It was nothing but us going line after line. Gave it endings because we still beat the villains at the end. It had to end somewhere, but as far as the whole story goes, it was nothing at the time. So presently, now that we're all scattered, Justin's in another city, Mondo's in another state now, and so when I was 22 or 23, or 24, I guess, somewhere around that, I started writing the story all by myself, and I took everything because I'm the one who was the most serious about it. Like I started drawing the characters. I drew the characters. I created the story basically. Other than them writing their lines and their ideas or for like kind of powers they had, I pretty much did make the story. But Mondo is the co-creator. Justin was a part of it. But as far as hands down goes, it's me and Mondo's story. So when I was 23, 24, I had all the information from everything we had written, but I noticed how bad it was because just from being older and actually taking it more seriously, I could see all the flaws in it. So I was like, okay, this sucks. This really does suck. I got to give it some kind of, I got to give it a good foundation. So I was like, I'm gonna write the story from scratch and just keep what I can keep, and then just work from there. And I spoke to Justin a few times via Facebook, and I showed him some of the lines that that I written as him, and he was like, "Dude, I would totally say that. Like, you got me, to a T." So like for Justin and Mondo, I've known them so long, it's easy actually doing their lines now. And when I put them in conversations in the story with the girls, it's easier because I have something to bounce off of that's purely imagination. I really don't have to go by too much fact. So that's fun right there in itself. So the story kept building from there. I spent probably, since I don't know what year I actually started, 22 or 24, I spent 2 or 3 years just writing. I almost stopped drawing. I only did it so often just because it was a need. I had to at least draw one picture, or if I was bored at work or something, on my 30-minute break, just want the time to go by. If I had a new idea while I was writing the story, I was like, okay, I have to draw this right now because it is so fresh and vivid in my mind. But other than that, I spent 2 or 3 years, maybe more, writing out the whole story just from beginning to end. And I'm still building on that, but essentially, I do have it where I want it to be. And I'm a better writer, and I draw well enough to at least give myself some credibility, some self-proclaimed credibility. So I'm good on both sides, And I'm one of those type of people that I guess I'm big on grammar, or at least spelling. So when I see it, and I don't like repeating the same words. So I always have the dictionary open. And Serenity being the sophisticated one, I always have to make her seem smarter than I actually am. So I'm like, I need a bigger word for this, and I need to say it in a way that sounds very intellectual. So I'm always getting new words, mainly just because of her, and that's helped me get back to some of my high school years, because studying, I never studied. I honestly, when I'm drawing and I'm learning new things, I don't even call that studying, because I'm doing it more out of a need, just because I'm enjoying it so much. A lot of big artists I've seen interviews from are the same way. Check this real quick. All right, going good. Got about 5 minutes left. The next thing would be my musicality. I'm not sure how many manga artists, comic artists see their stories as animes, movies, and series. But that's once I had the story written out on my own in that year, 22 or 23. I was like, I really want this to be, the main goal is for me to get this out there and for it to become, a series like that. Because I really do see this whole series as something very original. Of course, it's going to line up, with some cliches of here and there, or some trends that do fall into popular animes or anime in general. But for the most part, I like to keep originality an ironclad rule. I can always use the girls as a reference because Alexia, Serenity, I'll tell you more about Robin later, because even though she's original now, beforehand, she did have a reference. But Serenity and Alexia, they were totally drawn from my head. Like there was no character I said I want them to be like, or I'm going to draw this because of such and such. They were 100% just straight out of my head whenever I drew that first picture of them. Musicality, you know, I could say each one of us represents a different, or at least more than two to three, you know, styles of music, because I'm a very vivid imagination. So when I'm out and about, even just like, you know, got my music playing, I envision them like, you know, like fight scenes, or like just, you know, scenes of like going from here to there. Like just I'm on a bus, you know, or the trolley, and I'm looking out the window as the scenery's passing, and I can just see my characters running, doing parkour and whatnot off the buildings, just like as if I was out there running with them. So when it comes to music, you know, it always factors in, because each one of them can either go to a certain music or anyone that I want. But in general, you know, Justin, realistically, he's hip hop. You know, I guess he got some underground in him, but strictly Justin would be like the hip hop piece of the story. Alexia, she's part of her bio, her background. She is a dancer, and like all sorts of dancing. So she's pretty much like, you know, the whole box. You know, she can do it all. And Mondo, you know, he's rock. He likes hip hop too and everything. But me and Mondo in general will be the solid rock aspect of the story. And kind of doesn't seem so, but Serenity does have, you know, R&B and hip hop, and she's also classical. But I like to have fun with her, and you know, she rocks out like with the best of us when I have my little visions. And Robin, I do want to keep her like the softer side, but you know, she rocks too. She loves hip hop, but I would have to say she's more R&B hip hop based. Like, so those would factor into how their personalities in the story. So I always liked having, you know, knowing, you know, where they stand in the tale when it comes to music with them, because I'm going to use that if the story ever really becomes, you know, something bigger, you know, just keeps building to on a national, you know, I don't know, public, the masses, you know, a massive level, you know, for the public. So I have so much broken down already, you know, I just have to get it out there. And now I'm on my last minute, so what can I say in a minute? I could go over that. Powers and abilities, how I create those. It's kind of tough it's kind of tough to explain in a minute, but all the ideas I have, not even like 99% of the ideas I have, all just jump out of my head. Like I could be watching a movie, a TV show, or another anime, and I'll get an idea from it, but the idea is nothing that can be referenced to it other than saying, yeah, I was watching this and that's how I got the idea. It's not like the power or ability was in that part of the story. It's just how randomly my mind works. Like in the next other video, I'll go over. I'll try to be more clear, but right now I'm almost out of time. So I hope you enjoyed the vid, and hope you'll keep watching my channel. See you later.